Hey there, Cancer. Welcome to your reading. We're going to do a bonus reading. Six of Wands wanting to pop out there. I don't know if you saw that, but we'll keep that in mind. We're doing a rest of the year reading. This is going to be kind of like those deep question readings I did a while ago. We have a lot going on at the end of the year here, and we'll talk about it. So your first row is going to represent what you need to hear right now. You have this Cunning and Strength card, or Stealth, and this Success and Pride card. I kind of feel there are some things that you should keep to yourself here, Cancer. Whatever it is that you're like creating or working on, especially, and even like if you're like getting close to having some sort of win in your life, it might be a good time to like keep those things to yourself at this moment. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like once you do win, everybody will see it. The star says that. The star kind of says that you will be the star moving forward, but again, like I said, there's no need to, talk about it or whatever it is that you're kind of working towards or creating at this time. And, I think keeping things close to the chest might be a good thing for you. That might be something that's like good for everyone, honestly, for the rest of the year. So I'm not so sure that this is only going to be you that gets a message like this. And that's, definitely something to think about. I also think, but I do think that you should take pride in your work. It's, there's anything, what they say, Cancer, anything worth doing is worth doing right? And so that's kind of like popping into my head with that success card. It's like anything worth doing is, don't take shortcuts. Not that I'm not saying that you would or you will or anything like that, but, definitely something to think about, right? It's like, make sure that you're doing things well and make sure you're anything that you are doing, that you're kind of like doing things completely. And, if you do that, I think things will go better. Also in the area of what you need to hear right now, we have the Five of Swords, the Seven of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. Five of Swords, again, we have these two eclipses coming up next month of September. So if you're watching this before September, we have a Pisces eclipse on the 7th. We have that Virgo eclipse on the 21st. And I don't know. Whenever we have eclipses, we definitely can, cut things out, walk away from things. We can choose to eliminate things from our lives. And, there's really nothing to say about it because that's just what we do during eclipses. And probably a good thing. It can sometimes during, it can be, we can be happy about it during eclipses. We can be sad about it. I mean, it kind of goes all over the place with eclipses as far as I'm concerned. And even if you're watching this in August, you could be doing this right now. Again, I always tell people we feel eclipses much sooner than when they start. The whole thing about the eclipses is that you can feel it for, up to a month before or more before the eclipse. So again, some of you could be thinking about things that you want to eliminate with the Five of Swords. I feel like there's some sort of big risk that some of you are thinking about taking here in some area of your life. The star kind of tells me that as well. And then you go down to the Nine of Swords. It's kind of like popping into my head that some of you are thinking about taking a risk, but then you start worrying about it with that Nine of Swords. It's like I'm not calling you dramatic here or anything, Cancer. But what I would say is, if you think, if you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to do this in business or I'm going to, do this in love or some whatever area of your life, and it feels like a risk. And then if you're saying like, if you get to that point where you kind of like think you're going to do something, then you don't because you're worried about the consequences. I do feel like the Nine of Swords is saying like you need to do this, like you need to take the risk. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute. You have the Seven of Wands. Yeah, it definitely seems to be a good time for boundaries for sure. So any boundaries that you do have, I would make sure, I think we need to just stick to our boundaries, right? If we have a boundary, then we need to stick to it, plain and simple. The Seven of Wands, to me, can also say that you're feeling like you're being rushed into something, but really you're not. He has a shoe and a boot on his feet. The whole point of this on the Seven of Wands is that he feels like he was rushed into something, or he feels like he wasn't ready to do something, but really he's as ready as he's going to be, or, he's as ready as he can be to, accomplish something or do something in his life. And so he feels like he had to rush out of his house, and he feels like he wasn't ready. But again, he's as ready as he's going to be. So, I think that between now and the end of the year, that some of you could be, it's like maybe the universe is giving you some little nudges here to take action on something that you feel like you're not ready for. But I also feel like the universe is saying like, no, you are. Next, you have the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups can, of course, be a love offer if you want it. Now, there is a little bit of love here in this reading. You have the Page of Cups, which is like a general admirer. So, again, there could be like a general admirer here. The last row is going to be your love row, and so we'll talk about that in a minute. But the Ace of Cups is about doing more things that kind of cause you to overflow or get you into the flow. I feel like you need to get into the flow of like universal consciousness. We have the Star, right, going up here to the High Priestess. On the Star card, this right here is the pool of universal consciousness, but she basically needs to tap into the flow of the universe, right? And the High Priestess is very intuitive, so I kind of feel that this right here is saying that there's like a flow that exists if you really, slow down and listen to your inner voice and your inner guidance system. And, I feel like the universe is trying to guide you, but there's like something here about you needing to listen more, or you needing to just hear it in some way. The other weird thing I'm getting here, Cancer, by the way, I'm just going to say it, is it's like maybe you're probably intuitive, you're a water sign. It's like maybe you normally, it's like we all have our intuition, comes up differently for all of us. And I feel like your intuition could almost be changing, and that's what you're not realizing. You know what I mean? It's like maybe normally you feel things, but it's like maybe now you're hearing things, It's like I kind of feel like for some of you, it's like your intuition has changed or upgraded or whatever you want to call it. And it's like you need to listen to it. It's like, but sometimes I think if that happens, like if we, if we don't consider ourselves clairaudient and all of a sudden we're hearing things, it's like maybe you're not seeing it as a message, but it is. With the Five of Swords, you have the Temperance card. Temperance is patience. It's like I kind of feel like there are some things that you can't change in life, and this might be you walking away from certain changes or things that can't be changed. And from the past. I think a lot of people are dealing with this right now because, we had Pluto go from Capricorn to Aquarius, which is, that cusp in the astrology is kind of like the death of establishment. But I kind of feel on a personal level, and even though this, Pluto officially entered into Aquarius earlier this year, again, it's a very slow-moving planet, so it's not something that you're going to fix overnight, and it could take some time. But, I think there are some things that we have to let go of that we could be being asked to let go of. I also think it's interesting that you have that crown card that says success and pride on it, and you have this crown right here. And sometimes I feel the Temperance card is saying, like, what are you waiting for? There is this path that exists. This is called the path to glory. This Temperance angel could easily go and grab that crown, but like he is trying to make something perfect. Again, there never will be a perfect moment here, Cancer. Yes, with the Seven of Wands, you have the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is like charging forward towards success. I feel like you're more ready for something than you realize with the Seven of Wands right here. It's like you're thinking you're not ready, but you actually are. And, that's the best way I can describe the energy. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Ace of Wands. Love it. Two aces is a definite yes to any question that I have not answered. So, I feel really good about this with the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands. It could be a definite yes to any question that I haven't answered for you based off of like whatever it is that you want. Ace of Wands is a passionate new beginning. So I feel like you are being guided towards a passionate new beginning right now. In your next row, we're going to look at what you've outgrown at this time. And you have this Creator God card and this Guide and Protector card. I don't think you've outgrown protection, but I think that you have the protection is what this is saying. So it's like, it's almost like you're acting as if you still need to wear a full suit of armor in life. And I feel like the universe is saying, well, like actually, we kind of got your back right now. So you need to, it's like time to take bigger risks. Like I said, with that Five of Swords, it's like, you're acting as if you haven't learned anything. Nine of Swords. Again, I think part of me kind of feels like the Nine of Swords is maybe one of your more important cards here. Sometimes when I do a reading, it's like one card will stand out to me more than the others. And in this reading, Nine of Swords is definitely standing out to me more than usual. And so, again, that kind of tells me that it could be very important. Now, I feel like I've said this to you before, but, again, the Nine of Swords is a card of wisdom, and we'll talk about that. I consider it to be the worst card in the tarot, although I don't really consider tarot to be good or bad. It's loose guidance at best. You can choose to do what you want with it, right? So, again, we'll talk about that more in a minute. But, again, I think you need to realize that you are protected here with these cards. You have the Three of Cups, the Star, and the King of Swords. The Three of Cups can be like a celebration, good things happening for you after a difficult period of time. So these three ladies are celebrating on this card, and they are celebrating this harvest that's going on around them. So I like to see that. But I kind of do feel that some of you are. It's like there is something coming up for you where it's like you're not going to get any answers. And here's what I mean by that. It's like sometimes I think we get an opportunity in life, and it's like no matter who we ask, it's like no one can give us the right advice, or it's like no one can tell us like, yes, this is what you should be doing. It's like you just have to trust yourself. I kind of get that energy here in this row, where it's almost like it's saying that there could be an opportunity coming in for you at the end of the year here in any area of your life, like whatever you want. And I feel like no one is going to tell you it's a good idea, and like you have to make that decision on your own. It's kind of what this card is saying to me. And so if you're, it's like if you're thinking about doing something, like I would just like tap into your heart energy with that Ace of Cups, because I think your heart knows. And it will lead to a harvest. But again, I think, it's kind of funny that it's popping into my head that way, that this is saying, that you're not going to get the approval of others on something. Next, you have the Star, which is amazing. Again, I don't think this is something you've outgrown. I think this is something that you're doing. It's like you need to step into the pool of universal consciousness. I think you're, number one, a couple of things that would be very helpful for you. Number one, I think you need to realize that maybe your intuition is different, or you're picking up on things that you normally wouldn't. Like we already said, maybe you need to have like an intuition journal or something like that. Number two, slowing down. It's like sometimes I think when we get a new type of intuition or we get good at a new type of intuition, that the messages come in too fast, right? And so we just need to practice slowing things down. And, we can do this through breathing techniques, through meditation, through actually getting faster as well. People always say that I talk too fast, right? But that's because my messages come in very, very quickly, right? And so that's like, sometimes actually not slowing down is the answer. I don't know. You're all different, right? The other thing that I'm getting here for you is that, we have this bird here, and the bird is about looking at the big picture. Now, I don't necessarily feel that this is talking about like what you've outgrown, but I think this is about getting real about what Cancer wants, is kind of what this card is saying to me. It's like, I think you need to look at your life and say, like, these are the things I've always wanted. And like, do you have those things right now or not? I don't know. Whatever, there are certain, we all have certain milestones we want to achieve. And I feel like this is saying that if you could like zoom out of your life, that you might be able to see some things that you could remove that you don't even want in the first place. It's like maybe you have always wanted a family or whatever. It's like maybe your career takes up 120 hours a week. And maybe you're realizing like, hey, my career is like preventing me from having what I actually want. And so maybe you need to make some changes. It could be the other way around as well. So you're all different. And again, I would just look at what you really want. You have the King of Swords. Again, King of Swords, like mentors. It's funny I said on that Three of Cups that, it's almost like approval of others or something like that was popping into my head here. King of Swords can be very similar. With the Three of Cups, you have the Nine of Wands. Didn't I say this at the beginning of the reading? I think I did. Something about a lot of boundaries type energy here. Definitely for you, Cancer, I think having boundaries. But it's more like the universe is saying, is Cancer going to stick to their boundaries? Is Cancer going to say no? Is Cancer going to learn how to say no? I think that would be a good skill for you to work on right now, is like no. If something goes against your boundaries, or if you have a boundary, just say no. With the Star, you have the Fool. I mean, you are starting a new journey. And, I think you are definitely one of the signs that could be going through a big change. Right now, Jupiter in your sign, you're expanding. You're being asked to expand towards, like, bigger and better and new things. And that's what I would be focusing on. That might be a good word for you to put into your Cancer dictionary, Cancer, is bigger and better. Like, if you're going to do something, ask yourself, is this bigger and better? And if the answer is yes, then, it's probably something you should do. With the King of Swords, you have the Devil. I would definitely be careful of past people here. I mean, we have the Devil twice. This last row is going to represent what's going to happen for you in love between now and the end of the year. So I would definitely, but it's like kind of popping into my head as a past person. So, if you have any past people, then, it's like, that's what I would be blocking at this moment, or that's what I would avoid. I feel like there's something like new and better coming in for you. It's like, I don't know, I feel like this is a person who is like way too attached or something. So, again, you're all different. But some of you, I feel like maybe have dealt with a person who is like way too attached, or, whatever. Maybe they have attachment issues. I would be careful of that. Next, we're going to look at what one move would change everything for you at this time. You have this Temple of the Soul card. It says you're on a karmic path, so you can unravel the mysteries of your karmic debts. Sure. You have this Cosmic Egg hatching. It says what you've been waiting for is ready to be. Your patience is about to be rewarded. I think every reading basically says this to you, Cancer. But, clear. This is coming up in the area of a move that you need to make this happen. And so, first off, we have the High Priestess. You need to trust your intuition more. I think you need to peek. Didn't I say this to you? Because I remember saying something to you like within the past 2 weeks or so of about like the Wizard of Oz. That's what I always think of with the High Priestess. She has that curtain, that tapestry behind her, and it's like she needs to peek behind the curtain. There's more to the story. There's more going on with something. And again, Wizard of Oz maybe is a bad example because the guy behind the curtain is bad. But, what I would say here is that, maybe you need to dig into mysteries more. That could be a good move for you to make. We already talked about the intuition stuff, like trusting your intuition if it's different or if it feels different. I would definitely pay attention to that. But again, like I said, I think maybe you need to like peek behind the curtain, or you need to look into something more here. Especially like it could be anything, literally. But I think you need to dive deeper. I also think you need to see the full potential of something. It is almost like I don't really feel this is true what I'm about to say, but it is almost like the universe has been hiding something's potential. I don't think that's true. This is like the energy I feel is that maybe you don't see the full potential that exists. The High Priestess, again, everybody reads her as intuition, which she is, but I think people forget that she is the card of unlimited potential. So, this could be anything that's coming in for you. It could be love, could be work. Something has there's more than meets the eye, but you're not going to discover it unless you do this right here. Page of Wands. I think the Page of Wands is asking you to follow your bliss. Quite honestly, I think the one move that would change everything for you right now, Cancer, would be following your bliss. And I always say that the Page of Wands doesn't necessarily make sense. He does things in his life that just maybe they don't make sense. Like I said, it's like he kind of follows his bliss, follows his joy, but that kind of goes against society. In a lot of ways, it's like the way he lives his life, people might call crazy because he just follows his inspirations or whatever, kind of moves where the wind blows him, but he does it because he's excited. And so following your excitement would be a good idea with that card. Probably your most important card here, Nine of Swords. Now, Nine of Swords can be being stuck in Groundhog's Day. I'm pretty sure you had this with me in your last reading as well. But the trick with the Nine of Swords, because again, we are looking at the one move you could make that would change everything. So, every card in this row is going to represent an action that you need to take, right? And he has this blanket, and it's a comfort blanket. There are all these astrological symbols in the blue squares. Those astrological symbols represent all the transits that he's been through in his life in astrology. And they are telling him look, you've been through so much worse. You've been through all these things. It's meant to give him comfort because it's meant to show him hey, you have all this knowledge and wisdom. You've been through all these things. You know what to do. So get out of bed and do it. And, I think that's what that card is saying to you here, Cancer. With the High Priestess, you have the Nine of Cups, which is great. Definitely could be some sort of wish or fulfillment that you're being led to. Again, I think you have to peek behind the curtain a little bit. I think you need to allow something to grow as well and, just kind of allow it to do its thing is what I'm getting here instead of trying to shape it. It's kind of a weird message that I'm getting here. It's imagine, some people are into bonsais, right? Shaping trees and, forcing them into a shape, right? But I don't know why this is popping into my head, but it's I feel like you are attracting a tree into your life. As stupid as that sounds, but this tree, it's going to grow in whatever direction it wants. You know what I mean? It's there's nothing. I think that you're attracting something that's a little bit of a rebellious energy or whatever, but not in a bad way. I think it's going to be a beautiful tree. It's just not going to be this perfect bonsai, right? Is what's going on here. That is a very weird freaking message. But it's this is something that can't be tamed. And I feel like you need to get comfortable with that maybe or something. This could be a person. This could be, I also feel this is something you could be working on, where it's saying, it's Page of Wands. the best way for the Page of Wands to be successful is to go with the flow. It's like if he starts a business, it's like maybe he starts going in this direction, but as he go over the years of this business, obviously things change. He's not forcing it to go into one place. He's just kind of allowing it to go wherever he wants, right? And I feel like that's what's going on here. Is like it's saying you're about to do something, or you are working on something or towards something right now that's going to kind of like grow as you grow and as things go along, but there is no shaping it. It's going to shape itself. I don't know, weird, but whatever. With the Page of Wands, you have the Six of Cups. Yeah, definitely could be love, but this also could be your inner child, which I think is very important for you to focus on here. Cancer is your inner child, because you are a Cancer, plus Jupiter is in Cancer. I think that embracing your childlike energy, your just zest for life, and being excited by new things and asking a lot of questions, all that I think will be very good for Cancer. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, Seven of Pentacles could be a change in direction. Seven of Pentacles, he's looking at these pentacles and he's saying, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, is it worth it, or is there something else I could be doing with my life? Definitely a change coming in for you with these cards. Next, we're going to look at what blessing is coming in for you at this time. You have this Cathedral Rock card. It says strength and beauty. You have this Roadrunner. It says trust and knowledge. I said something about knowledge earlier. So it's like this is knowledge you already have. And I think you need to, but maybe that's it. Maybe you need to trust the knowledge that you have. I think you have a lot of like inner strength that you need to be using. I think you're a lot stronger than you give yourself credit for as well. And, that's something I would pay attention to. Next, again, in this whole row is going to represent what blessings are coming in for you. You have the Page of Cups. Definitely could be love that's coming in for you. You've been getting a lot of love, but everybody, pretty much Earth and Water have been getting the most love, I would say, recently, except I think one fire sign as well. But it is a good time for love, so I don't know. Kind of makes sense to me. But definitely could be a new person. Page of Cups to me is like a general admirer, so could just be a person who's interested. Like I said, this person could be the tree in your life. But it's like, I feel like there is no shaping this person. But again, that might not be a bad thing, Cancer. It's like I'm not saying this person isn't flexible. But I also think like if it's like sometimes we get into relationships and we try to change a person. Like it's popping into my head that this person, they're not changing for anyone, But again, sometimes I think that's a good thing because it's like, do you really want to attract a pushover? No, you don't, right? You want a person with a backbone. You want a person who is willing, like I said, there's a big difference between a person who's just inflexible and is a jerk, right? That's not what we're talking about here. It's just, I think that this person will not be changed, But I think, but we're not talking about like little things, It's like I think they're flexible in life. That's not what I'm talking about. I think they just have some things that maybe they do, and that's it. And I kind of feel like they're growing like a tree, like a wild tree in a direction, but I think it's going to make sense. You have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, I think if you're doing any work, this has come up for you before, like needing to brag more, needing to show off more, right? Three of Pentacles is about putting your work on display. The more you show off with the Three of Pentacles, the better. And Three of Pentacles also says, don't be afraid to add a little bit something extra special. He's got these three pentacles up here. This is a fire triangle. This right below it is a water triangle. And the water triangle says he kind of added something extra to his project. He added a little bit of his vision, a little bit of his dream to this thing that he's putting on display. So he made something just a little bit better. And I think that would be good if you're working on any projects, businesses, ideas, whatever. You have the Hermit. Yeah, definitely time to stand out more and take up more space. I think that's definitely going to be true with Jupiter in your sign. I think one of the best things to do with Jupiter in your first house is to take up more space. Like, that could be bragging more, talking about yourself more, sharing more, doing things that could lead to leadership roles in life. The list goes on and on there. But you have this card that says trust and knowledge. The Hermit, everything about him represents knowledge and wisdom. He has been through a dark night of the soul. He's been through something very difficult, and now he's shining his inner light. So, or he needs to. So it's like it's time to share what you know. I think you need to make a decision in love. Page of Cups. It's like, piss or get off the pot, for lack of a better term here, Cancer. Page of Pentacles is going back and forth too much. I don't know why. I really don't have an answer. I don't know. So, like, I don't claim to know everything, and I would never trust any intuitive that does, right? And so, I don't know. It just feels like something, it's like you either need to do this or not. Especially if you're interested in a person right now, or if you're meeting a person. I would say if you meet a person between now and, like, March of next year, March is kind of like when things really get going next year. And I believe personally, and yes, this is a personal belief, it's not an intuitive thing, although it kind of makes sense with the astrology. But I think like March, right? Which is good because this year really didn't get moving until like June. And, even at that, it's been kind of slow. And so, I feel like you could be meeting a person, like, what is that? Basically like 6 months from now or something. I don't know. I can't do math. It doesn't matter. But what I would say here is that, again, it's like you need to like do something here is what I feel. If you're meeting a person. Yep, with the Three of Pentacles, you have the Emperor. Definitely could be attracting an Emperor. I also think that everything about your energy is asking you to take the lead. I'm pretty sure I said this to you in a recent reading as well, that I think a good thing for Cancer to do would be take the lead on any, ideas, projects, goals, wishes, dreams, things you want to accomplish. With the Hermit, you have the Two of Wands. Sorry, the Two of Wands is about getting out into the world. He's standing where he's always been. But speaking of risk, like we talked about at the beginning of the reading, he needs to take the risk of getting out into the world to see what could happen. There is no good reason why. He just needs to like go on an adventure, and I definitely feel that adventurous energy with the Page of Wands. Next, in the area of what will happen in love, if anything, for the rest of the year, you have this flying card. It says ambition, joy, breaking free, and escapism. Again, that could be very good. I think the more playful, the better. If for those of you that do want love, and even if you're working on something that you do love, I would say the more playful, the better. It's like sometimes if we care too much about a project, I think we care too much, and then it doesn't work. So I think being more playful would be good. You have this performance card. It says expression, roles, and vulnerability. Yeah, you probably have to be vulnerable. Two of Pentacles, was saying like something has to happen here. So, that's it. You have the Five of Wands, the Hangman, and the Devil. I don't know. You could be attracting someone there's a lot of competition for. I think maybe I've said this to you before. It might be someone else. I might have said this to Pisces. I'm not sure who I say this to all the time, but there's definitely someone that gets this message that, you could be attracting someone where there is a lot of competition for the person, but I don't know. If it's for you, it's for you. And maybe the competition is so busy fighting with each other that, you could slip in here, right? And so, I don't know. I would go for it. You have the Hangman. Again, I think you are seeing love from a new perspective in general. We are in a time where we're all gaining new perspectives, so, I think we could be, being enlightened to other ways of living life and doing things, and, I would pay attention to that. I also feel like this is just saying you're ready if you want love, because the Hangman, he's been on pause, so maybe you've been kind of single for a while, but he's done this to gain answers, to gain that enlightenment that's going on here, but I kind of feel like it's saying you're ready. You have the Devil. I would definitely be careful of any past toxic people. I almost feel this is like, two people who need to let go of the past is what I would say. So, again, that's like if you meet a person and they're too attached to the past or whatever, then, you probably need to be aware of that. But also, if you're too attached to the past, then, that could be something that you need to heal. But let's clarify and let's see what's going on here. With the Five of Wands, you have the Tower here. This is like a surprise, is what I would say. The Tower does not have to be a bad thing, again, especially if this is someone new that's coming in. It's like two people who are going through great change. It's like maybe that's why this is slow, or why it feels slow to me, or there's something going on here with that Two of Pentacles. I don't know. Do I feel good or bad about this? I don't know. I don't feel... it's like I just feel like it's two people who are going through changes. That might be something that stands out to you, right? I think it's two people who've had Tower moments. That's why the Devil is showing up here. It's like two people. It's like maybe both of you have really been hurt recently or something like that. With the Hangman, you have the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, I do like the Three of Pentacles for love because it's two people who are willing to work together on a team. It doesn't have to represent a third party. I don't even, like, I've heard people say that. I'm like, where does that even come from? It's like, yeah, there are three people on the card, but that's not what the card represents. So, there you go. It's like, these are three people who are working on a project towards a common goal. And so, in a relationship, it can say you're finding a person where the two of you work together towards a common goal. With the Devil, you have the Hermit here. Yeah, you have the Hermit twice. How weird is it that you have the Three of Pentacles twice and the Hermit twice right here? Yeah, it's like something needs to be revealed, you know? It's like, you know, maybe both people are just stuck here, not telling each other that they like each other or something. Like, I don't know, if you have a friend or something here, Cancer, where... Didn't I say this to you recently? It's like, I don't know, it's like maybe you're interested in your friend, maybe they're interested in you, but you're not saying it or something. I don't know. Take it how it resonates. There you go. But pretty interesting. Looks good. Thank you for being here. Definitely enjoy the rest of your year.